July 14, 2016, Addison Township Zoning Board of Appeals. I'd like to start the meeting off with a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Everybody have one of these? Yeah. We have a roll call, please.
Chair John Hatfield.
Here.
Vice Chair Lauren Smith.
Here.
Trevor Hayward.
Here.
Joey Spina.
Here.
Eric Sett.
Here.
Robert DeWitt.
Here.
All present.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the agenda, as I would entertain any corrections or motions to change this time. Hearing none. Hearing no comments from fellow members, make a motion we approve as printed.
I'll support it.
Moved by Mr. Smith, second by Eric Senf. I think he got in under the wire.
That's it. Photo finish.
All right, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay. Agenda is approved. Okay, next item is approval of the minutes from June 2nd and June 9th. June 2nd was our training meeting. Anybody have any exceptions to the minutes from June the 2nd?
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the June 2nd training meeting.
Hey, Eric,
How about June 9th?
we're gonna do one at a time, I think.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to approve the minutes of June 2nd, excuse me. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please call out. We'll do a roll call vote on the minutes.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Eric Sett.
Yes.
Joey Spina.
Yes.
Trevor Hayward.
Yes.
Lauren Smith.
Yep.
John Hatfield.
Yes. Okay, any opposed? Oh, no, we did that now. In a different mode here. Okay, and now the minutes of June 9th, 2016. I unfortunately didn't notice this in time to say something earlier, but it seems that Mr. Protestivo has gained another S in his name in our minutes. There should be P-O-T-E-S-T-I-V-O. And it's repeated throughout, I think. Yeah. Any other corrections?
Your correction is take out the S.
Yep, they got the first S. Hearing none, I would support a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve them with the change.
I'll support it.
Okay. Moved and supported to approve the minutes as amended. Roll call, please.
Joey Spina.
Yes.
Trevor Hayward.
Yes.
Lauren Smith.
Yep.
John Hatfield. Chair John Hatfield.
Yes.
Eric Sett.
I was not present at that meeting. I don't think I can vote.
Chair, would you like the alternate to be called, or Eric?
Mr. DeWitt was here at the meeting, so, yeah.
Mr. DeWitt?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Minutes are approved for June 9, 2016. Next item is case 16-02. This is the second meeting for this case. If I make a note, as brought up earlier, the Yeah. Mr. Senf was absent last month, so I think any voting on this, we should retain Mr. DeWitt as a regular member for this case. It gives us pretty much a full board. And Mr. Senf would be, of course, able to participate in the questions and discussion.
Okay, I
But
understand.
we'll vote with the alternate, just to keep some continuity on the case. Applicant is Brian and Fabian Potestivo, 1333 Round Lake, parcel 0526300024. The zoning is Suburban Farms. Applicant requests a variance, 20-foot variance for the placement of septic field from Article 13, Section 13.03, Number 3. Septic system should be located a minimum of 100 feet from the lake, and it shall be designed so as to drain away from the lake and its watershed and tributaries. There was discussion last month about the whether this is a proper application for the ordinance, and we requested opinion from our township attorney, who came back, and in his opinion, it still requires a variance, even though it is a small body of water. We did look it up. It is identified in the watershed maps of the township, so it does apply. So, and I believe Mr. Potestivo has a representative this evening. Would you care to speak to us?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, fellow members of the board. My name is Kyle Say. I'm an attorney for Mr. Potestivo's law firm. Mr. Potestivo and his wife Fabian are out of the country, so they asked that I be present on their behalf.
Okay.
I believe the board has most of the information regarding this case. Mr. Potestivo just would like me to reiterate that the new septic field is essentially in the same spot as the existing septic field was, and when the existing septic field was built, this ordinance wasn't in place. So now that he's having to remove it slightly and replace it, the variance is required. It is a slight variance. It is in compliance with the county. Obviously, Addison Township has a 50-foot addition onto the 50 feet that the county requires. So, being that as it may, we would ask that the variance be granted.
Okay. Okay. I know that Mr. Potestivo has supplied more information, should be in everybody's packages, as far as answering some of the questions that we asked last month. Any other questions for the applicant? Open to the board to discuss and question.
Just in general for everybody for the conversation, Mr. Davis obviously give us some of his opinion. I'd like to make sure that this body of water that's in question is a fragile waterfront and is identified on the master plan, is that correct?
That's what was determined, yes.
Okay. So then Mr. Davis says if that's the case,
Then the variance.
the bottom line is, if not, a variance is required. So it is contrary to what we kind of discussed last month.
Right.
It is required, and so
Yes, it
we
is.
have to go from there. Okay?
I know, Mr. Spino, you had some questions based on levels and that type of thing. Is the documentation?
Yeah, the
provided?
question last month had to do with the size of this
Pond.
pond or puddle or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And whether or not it fell within the requirements of any special protection, like wetlands.
Yeah.
In this township, wetlands is 2 acres or more. This body of water is
Yeah.
something like a half an acre or less.
Yeah. It was identified on the
Right, after the
township
meeting.
wetlands map, so, yeah.
It was shown to be a protected space.
Right. We had some elevation questions, and I can't remember who asked them, and I think
Yeah, we did get that
these were answered.
information, yes.
Yes, in here.
Is this identifiable piece of water to the east of the questionable area, and is it across the street?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Looks like a footprint.
That's what I saw, and that's what I think, yes.
It does, and it's just,
So if there was any runoff from this septic not being installed properly, it would have to cross the road to pollute the water, is that correct?
That would be my opinion also.
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, if my memory serves, it was pointed out that this was a man-made body of water.
Yes, it is. That's why I questioned,
So-
to make sure
So you would
it
think,
was identified.
if it was man-made, you think it could be man-unmade.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what it
So
does.
I'm still struggling with the idea, just because it appears on a map.
It doesn't even look like a runoff pond.
No, it's not.
No. That's right. That's why I say it doesn't look like it, and I don't think it serves that purpose either.
I mean, these days, everything is going to show up on a map.
So,
So that's,
At any rate, we,
unless there's a special map of water, protected waters, which I don't know about, I guess.
it was, it was the official map that the township had prepared for that purpose.
Okay,
So it is considered a fragile water
okay.
feature. I think we should proceed as being a regular variance in this case. The other thing we requested was a copy of the application and answer from the county health department. Mr. Potestivo provided that. I think he's provided pretty much anything we've asked for. So, yeah.
So Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question here regarding the elevations.
Yes, sir.
On the correspondence from Mr. Potestivo,
Yeah.
his office. Number one, it says, it just states, it looks like the highest point is at 956. I'm just not sure if they're referring to the septic system, septic field rather, or I assume would be the field, but then it goes on to say, sentence 2 of number 1, the elevation at the septic location is 954 and 952. So I'm just a little confused as where the 956 is.
Yeah, it's not identified on the map as to what the contours are. No.
Looking at the same questions, if I may. And the question that was posed to Michael Tyler at Oakland County was, what is the elevation of the property? And his response, it says, it looks like the highest point is 956.
On the property.
That's the entire parcel.
The entire average of the property.
Yeah. I believe so.
Okay, that makes sense. And the only other thing I wanted to know is, and it's difficult to do that, thank you. Let me just find it here. Oh, there we go.
What you looking for?
Well, it mentioned, I'm looking for some criteria. Here we go. This is just reference for us in thinking out loud here. Going back to Lake Lot District overlay, there's number 3 here, it says septic system systems shall be located a minimum of 100 feet from the lake and shall be designed so as to drain away from the lake and/or its watersheds and its tributaries and any wells. Well, I don't know that septic systems drain.
Only in New Orleans where the land is.
Yeah, so I mean, I assume they're talking, if you were to have a failed system and the sewer percolates up and it gets on top of the ground, that it could, shouldn't run towards any water. In saying that, looking at the survey, there's what's between the septic field and the pond is a road, Round Lake Lane. That road has a good amount of road gravel base in it, which is more or less a man-made filter
A little bit higher than.
for runoff. So, and that, all that ground would perk. So, I mean, in any event, I think it's, in my personal opinion, I believe it's, it has its securities or its, what's the word I'm looking for?
Barriers.
Barriers. Sure, barriers or,
Safeguards.
yeah, safeguards, thank you. Yeah, again, I was just reiterating that, looking at, thinking, make sure everybody's thinking the same as what I interpret it to be. I have nothing further at the moment.
We kind of covered it pretty good last month.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's not much else to talk about.
Mr. Smith?
I agree with Trevor and my comment on that, whatever you want to call it, was a man-made thing, even though it shows up on the watershed map. I believe there are plenty of precautions involved in this thing, and I think it's time for a motion.
We'll entertain a motion at any time.
Okay, well, I'll make the motion then that we
Okay, if you were going to...
approve the 20-foot requested variance
Okay.
on this property due to inability to put it anywhere else. I mean, there's just no way to meet the requirement of the 100-foot setback.
With all the information that was
And
given.
then we have some assurances that, I can't put your words in your mouth, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Based on the plans provided and the practical difficulty is that it can't be done any other way.
I'll support that.
Motion and support. Wait until our secretary catches up. Discussions on the motion? Hearing none. I'd like a roll call vote. Yea or aye would be granting the variance of 20 feet from the 100-foot water setback for the septic field. And nay would be to deny the variance. Okay. Roll call vote, please, without Mr. Senf.
Trevor Hayward,
Yes.
Robert Hewitt,
Yes.
Tony Stevens,
Yes.
Mark Smith,
Yes.
Chair John Hatfield.
Yes. Okay. Variance has been granted. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, fellow board members.
So, Mr. Potestivo, I wish we could have sped things up a little bit for him, but
I will let them know. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something real quick?
yes.
I assume, I don't know if the applicant knows, but I assume some of the, in this memorandum we have, it says that the inspections will still be performed at appropriate stages of the construction.
We're going to be discussing that in a little while.
this is new.
This is a separate
Okay.
item
Not part of
altogether.
anything.
Okay, so what
Nothing
they
to do with
just,
this case
Gotcha.
particularly, so. Okay. We'll discuss that under zoning board reports. Okay. Next order of business is correspondence received. Other than the memo from our legal counsel, I know of none. Memo from legal counsel and the documentation that we had requested on the last case. Okay, zoning board of appeals reports. We have a document submitted by the Addison Township Planning Commission, represented here by Mr. Smith. This is conditions to consider when reviewing septic system setbacks requirements. Mr. Smith, would you like to comment on how we should proceed with this, or what would be
I don't I feel somewhat remiss in my duties, but not 100%. I could not attend last month's planning commission meeting, and I was absent.
Okay.
This was done by my colleagues. You see it, it has my request for my signature on the bottom. I have looked it over. I think that it's quite appropriate. It might not suit everybody's needs on this board. I would have, when this board is done considering and wants to do something about it, making it legal, I would request from the Planning Commission side and the ZBA side that we get a legal opinion on our final findings to make sure that it conforms to what we have the authority to do.
Okay.
So whatever we come up with in the end tonight, I would like it reviewed by our council before we say that it's the gospel.
I think it might be appropriate to accept the document from the Planning Commission, study it, and individually, and come back at our next ZBA meeting and for a discussion on what the recommendations are. It is a recommending document rather than, it says conditions to consider when reviewing system setback requirements. It may help guide us in granting or denying a variance. It doesn't change our ordinance yet.
And I agree, like I said, instead of acting and making it in concrete, and then our council comes back and says, whoa, you can't do that, then we'd be in there and have to swallow crow. So I don't think that's appropriate. So your suggestion to put it in front of the board, give it to the members, let us mull it through, and take it up to the next meeting, I think is very good advice.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, and we'll table this document if we can. We'll keep it on the agenda for the next scheduled meeting.
As the presenter of this piece of paper, I would make a motion that it is officially received by this board and that we look at it and take it up at the next meeting.
Okay.
So that's my motion, okay?
Yeah, I'll second that motion, I agree with that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I guess I have interpretation open on number 1. This is for our consideration, or is this if they can?
Conditions to consider is the subject.
Consider.
They still need us, if they're doing engineered field, they still need to come for variance. It's not in lieu of.
Not until the ordinance gives
Gotcha.
authority to the building inspector to
Okay.
I guess
vary from the
Yeah,
ordinance.
I read
I'm
this.
looking at these things as kind of like things that we would review and agree to accept a request or deny the request, and then has also some conditions to the granting of the request, that certain things be done.
Yeah, like especially item 4, that we've come on item 4 several times on the elevation. Also, on lessons learned from previous septic fields that came in front of this board, and afterwards we find out that due to elevation of neighboring property, there was inappropriate runoff. So I think this is a real good consideration list.
As well as other things that each case would present.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So as it is, it's a request of things that we should consider when reviewing variance requests for septic systems. Unless or until the ordinance is modified for any other conditions. Not likely at this time. Okay.
We do have a motion.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second to officially accept this document for the zoning board of appeals and to table it for further discussion at our next meeting once we've had a chance to study it further. Any other discussion on that motion?
And then send it to our attorney.
Yes.
Okay. This will not be caused by itself to have the next meeting? This would be
No.
whenever the next meeting is?
Whatever, yeah.
Whenever we have another case to discuss.
Good.
So, hearing no more discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And I would ask the chairman
Thank you very much.
to direct this to Mr. Davis for his opinion.
Okay. Do that officially in the minutes. Request Mr. Davis give his opinions on the document and any comments he may have. Thank you. Right, report of the Planning Commission liaison. I think we just did it.
Kind of, sort of, like I said, I could not make the last meeting, so I'm not duly informed. I read the minutes, but I think everything, we didn't have a meeting this month, so everything's in order.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public forum. We have a little bit of public here tonight. Any comments, Mr. Sargent?
No, thank you. Other than, I think Round Lake is specifically referred to in the township code
Yes.
by name,
Correct.
and states limitations to that body, one of which is, I think, electric power only, but it is referenced in the code. You know, if there was a question if it was a legal body.
Well, it's not Round Lake we're questioning, it's this little puddle across the street.
Up here, on the curve.
Not Round Lake, no.
No.
Round Lake is not in question. It's this, here's Round Lake, here's his residence, here's the street, and here's this puddle across the street. It's the puddle that we have a problem with.
Yeah, if it was wrong, yeah, he's well away from Round Lake.
He's well away from the Round, yeah, he's okay.
Cool. Any other comments, sir?
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Nobody else to speak.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Public forum is closed at 6:29. Mr. Smith moved to adjourn.
Second?
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Right now,
Any opposed?
these are the four that
We are adjourned.